We're back on Joe's 68 Firebird spec chassis install. This is part 2. We will be finishing up the install, getting everything buttoned up underneath the car. The chassis is in for good. We got the Holley 302-2 oil pan installed. Plenty of clearance now up here. Everything's happy. Just a few things to button up. The drivetrain is actually a little bit forward of where it was before. So the shifter, Matt's currently making a small bracket to move the shifter back to where it needs to be, just because of the console. In most cases, if you don't have a console, or if you have like a factory console, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but this car has a custom console, so we had to make sure that shifter position is back to where it needs to be so it doesn't contact the console. So you'll see this car go back together. Matt's going to get everything buttoned up. New fuel tank's going to be in a couple weeks. We'll get new fuel lines run, e-brake cables, all the little ancillary details that are time consuming. The chassis swap was actually pretty quick. It's all the little details, all the buttoning up, the power steering lines, the fuel lines, the e-brake cables, all those little things that take time and sometimes take a little bit of head scratching. So we'll go through everything with you guys on what we did when we get there. What? Jeez, you're in the shot. So it's been a few weeks, actually a little bit more than a few weeks, and we've decided to pretty it up a little bit. Joe wanted to add some ARP bolts, kind of pretty things up. He'll be showing the car with mirrors and stuff, so we're gonna level up the car a little bit. Transmission's gonna get painted, the color of the engine. I have the exhaust all mocked up and tacked into place. We did kind of a unique exhaust on this thing. I made a large oval crossover chamber. It's not just an X pipe or an H pipe. It's a one-off type of deal. We try to do things a little bit outside the box here. So nice big oval crossover for tons of scavenging, and the gases can go wherever they want. It's going to have a really unique sound. We put cats on it, keep it smelling better than stinky exhaust. That was one of his complaints about the car, is he would show up somewhere, he'd be a little stinky. So full stainless exhaust like usual, nice and tidy, very symmetrical, all serviceable. V-band clamps, vibrant packed mufflers. This thing's gonna have a really, really nice sound. We decided the best way for this, because of how crowded the link suspension is on this, we decided to do an under axle exhaust. So it's up in the air, it's at full droop, and the exhaust is as high as possible. It doesn't hang any lower than the headers, so it's down below the axle, but it sits higher than the rest of the exhaust. So in my mind, you're good to go. So now that it's all tacked up, our mock-up is completed. We also mocked up the Roadster Shop stainless steel fuel tank. Fits beautiful. Tons of room for the tailpipes. So now we rip everything out and do the final finishing. Again, painting. The exhaust is going to get wrapped. The transmission tunnel is going to have DEI heat shield material all through to keep this thing nice and cool. So yeah, it's coming along well. We should have the wheels in a couple weeks, and we'll be wrapping this thing up pretty soon.
day has come. Joe's 68 Firebird with the fresh spec chassis from Roadster Shop is installed. So let's go over all the details. So we'll start from the front, work our way back. During the install, we did a little bit of cosmetic work to the car to change it up. We got rid of the front license plate bracket, had to weld up the holes, color match the front valence, remove the front valence. And we also installed an Anvil Auto front splitter. It's their Pro Touring splitter. I think it's called the Notched Pro Touring splitter. Looks great. Joe didn't like how unsubstantial the front factory style Camaro front spoiler was. From the side, it just kind of looked like a board. So this, Roscoe, come on, buddy. So it kind of fills in the side, and we took it a step forward and custom fit it to go around the wheel well molding. Just a small little detail to make sure the fit and finish is super, super nice. As I stated earlier in the video, we ended up swapping out some of the hardware under here with ARPs. So we got nice 12-point stainless steel polished ARPs. The exhaust is completely fitted out, wrapped up. We got all the DEI heat treatment stuff we could add to this car to help reduce the radiant heat that goes up on the floor pans. We also took the headers out and ceramic coated them with the Zycoat gray ceramic coating. Just easier to clean. It looks better for longer. Cutouts, electric cutouts here to bypass the cats and just turn it up a little bit when he wants to. Here is the large, Roscoe's interrupting the cameraman. Buddy, come on. Here's the large crossover tube. I wrapped it in the DEI muffler shield, which has an 1/8-inch fiberglass mat to try to absorb any heat. And then it has this really sharp looking aluminum, perforator, not perforated, but stamped aluminum. More ARP bolts. This happens to showcase the spec, chassis writing perfectly. More of the goodness on the mufflers. I mean, this stuff really keeps the heat down like crazy. We ran it when we first started it after the chassis install. We ran it for about 15 minutes, and you could put your hand on the muffler. So outfitting exhaust, it isn't necessary. However, it does make for a nicer project in the end. Roadster Shop fuel tank. It's got the fuel hat inside, super, super nice. That they run pickups out to the corners to reduce cavitation, with the fuel sloshing around, so he won't have any fuel starvation. We had a powder coated satin black to just kind of let it hide. We didn't feel there was a need to show off a nice stainless steel tank. You should, but it's kind of an eyesore. So satin black kind of hides everything, and just a slash cut tip to hide it. We don't love being too boisterous around here, so we like to hide our exhaust up and out of the way. Forge line GT3Cs, 18x9 in the back, 19 by 9, right? 19 by 9, 18.8 in the front, 275 in the rear. Fits beautiful. Again, this axle is narrowed 3 inches on each side, so they're super deep, super concave for that really good look. This car did not get mini tubbed. We didn't feel it was necessary. Didn't want to get too invasive into the car. That's always been kind of the theme of this car, is to add to it and don't get too far into it. Bare brakes, they stop like crazy. 13-inch in the front, the small 11-inch in the back with the e-brake in the hat. But yeah, Forge line's super nice. They did a custom Pontiac Aero cap for us, and it just kind of completes the car. I had the ability to take it for a few miles yesterday for about a 45-minute drive, and it's incredible. I have driven this car in the past before we did the swap, and now the car is just we've been saying around the shop, it just feels more, feels put together. No, the twist is, it soaks up bumps. I mean, it's hard to explain without being behind the wheel, but it is a massive, massive improvement over this, a stock body with all the bolt-on stuff you can put on. So it's a great investment for a car. If you want a driver's car, this is the way to go. Still handles good, even though it's soft and cushy and hits bumps well. You can still take it out and thrash it. Unfortunately, it is December here in New Jersey, so you can't push the cars too hard because the roads are so cold and covered in salt. But Joe will really enjoy driving the car this spring. Thanks to Joe, great customer of ours. He always allows us to push the envelope. We kind of have him push the envelope as well, and the end product is always worth it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to the next Roadster Shop install here at Blue Sky. Let us know if we can be of any help on your install, or if you want one installed. We'd be more than happy to get that conversation going. So yeah, time to load her up and bring her home to Joe.